Hi everyone, I'm Doug from Now TV, and I'm joined here by Sky Sports Spanish football expert Guillem Balague, who's kindly agreed to answer a few questions from us ahead of this weekend's El Clásico. What makes El Clásico the biggest club game in the world?
You can look at it from the point of view of players. There's no other game that has got so many superstars. And you're not just saying now Cristiano Messi, it's Luis Suarez, and it's Neymar, and it's Iniesta, and it's Sergio Ramos. And so, player-wise, no other game can do this. But it's more, of course, this is more than a game. It's two ways of understanding the world, two ways of dealing with being a football club. So it's the Galacticos against the local boys in theory. A lot of it, if you scratch, you realize that it's image perhaps and is a way of how they portray themselves. But generally they are on the stream of each other. And what's fascinating, of course, is that they absolutely need each other.
Yeah.
So seeing that and seeing the result of that is performance is important, but the result is what defines the following, not just 2-3 days, 2-3 weeks, 2-3 months. So it's huge, huge.
Well, you mentioned two crucial players there. Have any news on the fitness of Messi and Ramos?
Ramos has got pain, so apparently hasn't been worse. The dislocation of the shoulder that he had is very painful, so he needs injections of painkillers. So he will get a bit of that and he will play. In the case of Messi, there is no rush whatsoever to decide what, if he will play or not. He has to be 100%. People are being pessimistic in the sense that he's getting close to 100, but he's not 100, which could well mean that we won't see him at the Clásico. At the moment, you look at the table, you look at how Barcelona is performing, you look at the game that Barcelona played against Villarreal, and you say, not that they don't need him because they'll be better with him, but so far so good without him.
So you think Ramos, well, if he's going to be fit, would be a bigger miss for Real Madrid, especially even against the likes of Suarez and Neymar?
You got Varane and Pepe. So if there is one position where they sorted, is centre-back position. Varane is a centre-back that doesn't commit fouls and plays the ball from the back, so in that way he could even be sometimes better than Sergio Ramos. Sergio Ramos is leadership, his strength. Pepe, of course, has dropped the level a little bit. For me, Varane and Sergio Ramos should be the best partnership at the back. But anyway, it looks like Sergio Ramos should be fit.
Okay, well, on to Barcelona. How do you think this team, this great team of 2015, compares to the great teams under Pep Guardiola in 2009, 2011?
This team is. It started really badly this season anyway, but if you're talking about the treble and the two trebles, then it's completely different. Luis Enrique is taking the team to another place, and a lot of people were asking for Barcelona to move from that evolution that they were creating, and they started creating under Pep Guardiola. Evolution or revolution, whatever you want to call it, it was completely different and unique and new for that kind of elite team to defend that they were defending, the commitment they put without the ball, and of course the quality and the organizing attack that they had. All of that was new, and that was Pep Guardiola offered. When he got to Luis Enrique, it was a team that was lacking a little bit of confidence, that had gone through Tito Vilanova and Tata Martino, and wasn't just the Barcelona didn't have a clear idea where they were going. So Luis Enrique said, we'll make a team that looks like me. So that is much more direct, that is aggressive, that counter-attacks, and they have the players for that. So different teams, but certainly in both cases they maximize their potential, which at the end is what you ask a coach to do.
In recent years, there was a bit of a drop-off in Spanish football's teams' performance in the Champions League. In the last couple of years, they've kind of come back strong. What would you put that down to?
Since 2000, I think we won about 24 titles in Europe, compared to the 6 in Germany and the 5 in England and the 4 in Italy. So we haven't done too bad. So, thank you for pointing out a blip of 1 or 2 years, but we are okay, we are okay. I think that there are teams that compete, and they have competed through a very difficult part of our history, which is, financially the teams didn't have money. Now there's bigger television deals, there's more money coming in, but you have to sharp up what you have, the cleverness to get the right players that nobody's looking at, to convince them that it could be a platform for something else. And the likes of Sevilla, Villarreal, Valencia, those teams have done really well with the money they had, which makes them better once they have money, in theory.
Leading on from that then, this new TV deal that's coming in, is it going to make it even more competitive going forward? Is the Real Madrid Barcelona kind of dominance coming to an end, or will that always be the big two?
I feel that there is a lot of people that want that dominance to go to an end. But of course, you're talking about institutions that have got an average, I don't know, about 600 million euros in money coming in. That's the budget that they're moving on. And then the second one would be, or the third one would be, say, Atletico Madrid, where with 250 million, so half of it. And you go down and it's even much, much, much less. So the dominance will always be there. I tell you something, if Barcelona and Madrid were in the Premier League, they will win the league every single year. And there will be a dominance that people will be talking about. But ignore that and have a look at what's happened in the last, since 2004, right? Since 2004, how many teams do you think have won the Premier League?
How many different teams?
Yeah.
I'll go with 3.
3?
Yeah.
Very
4
good.
if you include us.
No. 2004 was the last time they won it. So from 2004 is 3.
Yeah.
La Liga since 2004, how many teams have won
I'll
it?
say 4.
3 as well.
3 as well.
Barcelona,
Sorry.
Real Madrid, and Atletico Madrid. No, what I'm saying is that it is much competitive than people think it is. You've got 2 teams that dominate in both leagues.
Yeah.
Chelsea, Manchester City, or Manchester United. Now Manchester City is into the equation, all down to putting a lot of money. Atletico Madrid have got a lot of money, so they've been given a chance at the title as well. But the leagues are more competitive, or as competitive almost in a way as, and certainly more than people think. But they are competitive.
Okay, well, moving on to Real Madrid, the hosts for this weekend's game. A lot of is made between the relationship between Ronaldo and Bale. Is there anything to the rumours that they don't really get along, or is that nonsense?
If they don't get along, it's because Real Madrid have made a clear step towards giving the team to Bale. So in the summer, Gareth Bale's representatives met Florentino Perez, the chairman, and said, why is he not allowed to play as a number 10? Why does he have to be a right winger when his position at least is better as a left winger? Oh, because Cristiano's there. Well, what's going to happen? And the message that they got was that, right, it's time for Cristiano Ronaldo to move on and Gareth Bale to become the focal point of Real Madrid. That, of course, can only create tension, and that, of course, the first one affected is the head coach. Rafa Benitez has to give more preeminence to Gareth Bale, while Cristiano Ronaldo has picked clearly, but still is a great goal scorer. He still wants a lot of influence, but perhaps his body doesn't allow him. There's a lot of things going on there that doesn't help the relationship Bale-Ronaldo to be as fluid as it should be.
Well, might that have an issue, or have a bearing on Ronaldo? Still rumours that a return to Man United might be likely, or PSG. Is that something, or is he still happy enough that he could still finish his career in Madrid?
There's a clear strategy for Ronaldo to leave Real Madrid this summer, and his heart is saying, I'd like to go to Manchester United, and he told that to Sir Alex Ferguson, he told that to teammates. People at Manchester United think that he wants to come back, but it doesn't make any sense. It doesn't make any sense because Cristiano is a completely different Cristiano that you saw up till 2008, and the club is in a completely different place. Louis van Gaal has been given the opportunity to put the foundations for a club that can succeed in the long term based on collective effort and collective work. Cristiano's in a different planet now. So his heart might be saying Manchester United, but his head and the people around him and PSG are saying, come here. And PSG is, I think, where he may end up. That's the way it's going. Quite clearly, he didn't hide it when the Real Madrid met PSG and sent a few messages out there by talking to the EA of Laurent Blanc, by crossing paths with the president of PSG and shaking his hand and giving him a wink, by Jorge Mendes, his agent, meeting the president of PSG, and we all know about it. So the strategy is for everybody at Madrid to think, I want to leave. Now Madrid is also working very hard to convince everybody that they don't want him to leave, but he wants to leave, so he's going to have to let go. So we're veering towards that.
It'll be very interesting to see how that develops this summer. Other rumours about this summer, maybe less credible, but Messi and Neymar, is one of them going to leave? Are they both happy at Barcelona?
Different
they
situations.
Don't go away, just rumours.
No, different situations. Messi has to renew his contract with Barcelona. Not now, but perhaps in 1 or 2 years. And he's a matured Messi who thinks, okay, I've got 2 kids, I've done everything at Barcelona, maybe, why not try the possibility of going abroad? it's a door that has been opened for the first time ever. So that's why I always say it's the closest he's ever been to leaving. Doesn't mean he will, but it's the closest he's ever been compared to other years. That is one that is, let's leave it open because there's still a long time before any decision is made. Neymar, completely different. So Neymar, while Messi's injured, becomes the number one at Barcelona, and you can see his potential. He's a forward, he's not a midfielder, he doesn't take works the side the same way as Messi, but as a forward wins games. So he can be the best player in the world. For me, he's the number 2 in the world now, it's Messi and Neymar. When Messi returns, he's got to go back to be the winger that he is and run in behind the defense and run without the ball and wait for the ball to come to him, and then when he does, he will have the chance. He will touch the ball half the times that he touches us now, but still has to be as effective as he can. So he thinks, okay, this is great, and I'm winning a lot with Barcelona, but I can be the number 1. There's no doubt he thinks that. Can I be the number 1 in Barcelona? The answer is no, because there's a guy that's better than you, and that the team plays for him. So, quite clearly, the conversations with Manchester United were down to the fact that he's thinking maybe then I have to move, and that is one that we're going to hear a lot about. Manchester United have got the money for it, but not just Manchester United, by the way. And he's thinking about what to do next.
Very interesting. Well, you said he's probably number 2 in the world, but in terms of 2015 alone, has Neymar got a chance of beating Messi to the Ballon d'Or this year? No. Or would you still give it to Messi? Oh, ahead of Ronaldo, but Messi seems to be the favourite.
It's not about the goals. Messi was at the heart of the Barcelona that won everything last season, all the trouble. Neymar was I'm not saying an assistant as we understand an assistant, he was also a tenor, but the superior tenor was certainly Messi. But Neymar, I think, being less consistent as Messi, he has been better than Cristiano Ronaldo, no doubt about it, in the last year. So he should be number 2, but the power of Cristiano and the aura of Cristiano and the goals of Cristiano perhaps suggest that he may be number 2. But I think we've seen the end of Cristiano right at the top, because I think Neymar already has overtaken him.
Okay, well, talking of the Liga stars potentially moving, is there anyone in January who might leave? Any, maybe not the superstars, but is there any kind of players we should look out for? Maybe some of the other outside the top 4 in England? Looking at anyone?
It's too early to say. I mean, clubs have to define what they need. There's no many things happening in January these days, not at the highest level, because people realise that it's the wrong time to move when there's European Championships coming up. So if it doesn't work out for you, then you start disappearing from the lineups, etc. So of course there will be movements, but not at the highest level.
Rafa Benitez has come in this summer and has changed the way they play, but do you think it's had a positive effect? Do you think there might be more of a chance in Europe in particular this season under him?
With Rafa Benitez, he's trying to do what he always will do anywhere where he goes, to create a unit where everybody works with and without the ball, where there is only enough intensity, where the ball is moved fast enough, where when it's needed there'll be quick transitions, what is needed there'll be enough possession. What he did at Liverpool, what he did at Napoli, what he did at Chelsea in the few months that he was around. The problem is he has been doing that due to injuries with players that have responded very well to it. The Casemiros, even Jesse, who is a talented player but has done that job, Lucas Vázquez, etc. Problem is, when you get Gareth Bale coming in, James coming in, Cristiano of course, and Benzema back, they won't put the same amount of work, which means that the team will always be parted into 2, which means that teams will be able to attack them. So unless they fully believe in what Rafa Benitez is trying to do, it will all be down to, in that game, that Cristiano does something, and as I'm saying, he's doing it less and less, or that Benzema does something, or that Bale does something. So the fight for Rafa is to make team a team, but you wonder if the players are listening.
Right, well, a couple more just about Clásico in general then. What is your favourite ever Clásico game, going back as long as you want? The best game you've ever seen?
Wow, it was very special for many reasons when Luis Figo came back to the Camp Nou.
Yes.
Because the Barcelona fans felt so betrayed by it that they made the noise of a jet taking off when he came on the pitch, and that's remarkable because it's a very quiet stadium, the Camp Nou. That was certainly one. The hat trick of Messi, of course, when he managed to draw the game against Real Madrid only single-handedly. That league was won by Real Madrid anyway at the end. And of course, one game that I took a friend of mine to see. It was at the Santiago Bernabeu, and Barcelona beat Real Madrid 6-2. And he came back. It was his first Clásico, and he came back so disappointed. This was so one-sided. I was like, you just watched one of the biggest games in the history of the game, of the football history, you know. But he saw it so very one-sided that there was no competition, which meant that it wasn't very entertaining. But it was amazing. It was absolutely amazing. And of course, Jose Mourinho's first Clásico, 5-0, and only because he learned from it. Only because he learned from it. So he didn't see that obstacle as, oh my God, I cannot do anything with the side. He saw it as an opportunity to change massively things at the club, to then eventually get so close to Barcelona that partly Pep Guardiola felt so much pressure that he had to leave. It's partly down to the fact that Real Madrid really got to the best of Barcelona in the last few years of Mourinho at Real Madrid.
All right, and the most important question, what is your prediction for this weekend's game?
Oh, I'm awful at predictions.
I'm going to put you on the spot.
These games are different. So you would say that form-wise, Real Madrid are worse. Barcelona certainly more solid. They conceded 1 goal in the last 6 games, while they still scoring up front. Barcelona are favourites. It depends on the first goal. If the first goal is scored by Barcelona, it's going to be difficult for Real Madrid to come back. Barcelona favourites, but there's always goals. Real Madrid in front of the fans should get the pride out, and it could be a goal-scoring draw, like a 2-2 or something like that.
That sounds very good to us, to be fair. Right, well, thank you very much, Guillem. Just a reminder that you can watch El Clásico this weekend on Now TV with the Sky Sports Day, week or month pass. Thanks very much. Bye-bye.